So if you own your own business or you're self-employed, should you pay the government early? By that I mean, should you remit things like GST, PST, HST, income tax, things like that earlier than you need to? And of course, these sales taxes will depend on your jurisdiction, your region. I'm mostly speaking to Canadians here, as is the case in most of my videos. So when it comes to things like provincial sales tax, goods and services tax, the federal sales tax, or HST, the harmonized sales tax, when you set up a business or you're self-employed and you start making sales, typically you're going to have to register for those accounts, collect those sales taxes, and then pay them forward to the government on a certain schedule that they give you. So that remittance schedule could be monthly, could be quarterly, could be annually. It could start out quarterly for the first year of business, and then maybe you get bumped to annually, and then as the business grows, maybe that becomes quarterly. So it can vary depending on the jurisdiction and the size of the business. But typically when it comes to GST, HST, and PST in Canada, your filing frequency or your remitting frequency is usually dependent on the size of your business in terms of dollar value of sales or dollar value of sales tax collected. So the more revenue you're making and the more sales tax you have, the more frequently the government will want you to file your taxes or require you to file your sales taxes. So if you want to, in some cases, you can file these more frequently or remit them more frequently than you need to. So maybe you're set up on an annual payment plan, but you want to pay monthly or quarterly. Typically you can do that. You can just make arrangements with the federal government, provincial government, or whatever it may be. Or let's say you have to file or remit annually and it's not due until the end of April. If you want to, you could pay it in January if you know the exact number. And now when it comes to income taxes, the same thing could apply, where, if you're self-employed or you have a business, at the end of your fiscal year, you're going to file your tax return and pay your taxes. But at a certain point, if your business is generating enough revenue and having enough income tax owing at the end of each year, the government is probably going to put you on quarterly remittances where you're having to pay a portion of your estimated income tax early because the government doesn't want to wait until the end of the fiscal year to collect all the income tax owing in the case that you are past their, small amount threshold. So now to answer the question, should you remit or pay back your sales taxes or your income taxes earlier than you need to? I think the answer to this, like the answer to just about every question, is it depends. It depends on your situation and your personal preferences. For me, as much as I like to stay on top of things, and I do stay on top of things as far as business administration, I will not pay earlier than I need to. I would rather keep the government's money, earn interest on it, and then pay it back to them only when they require it, rather than give it to them early. And I have this freedom as a business owner, a self-employed individual, whereas when you're an employee, typically it works the opposite way, where if the government is owing you money, they hold it for the year, and then when you file your taxes, you get it back. So they're holding your money throughout the year, they're maybe collecting interest on it, and only giving it back to you when you make a claim on it, basically. So for me, this is my preference, this is what works well for me. I track what I owe, I hang on to it, I collect interest on it, or use it for whatever else I need to use it for. And then when it comes time to file my taxes or remit my sales taxes, I have that money available and I remit it when it's due. However, there are other people that have different preferences. Maybe they just find that if they don't make those payments earlier than they need to, or in shorter frequency durations, that they just get behind, they end up using that money for something else, and then they don't have that money available, or they forget, or whatever it may be. It can just cause issues with them from a business administrative standpoint. And so I think if this is the case for you, that's fine to file it or remit it earlier than you need to. If that makes sense for your personality type, your business situation, then you can make arrangements to do so in most cases. However, an alternative option would be to open maybe a secondary savings account where you're just moving that money into that savings account. So the GST, the PST, the income taxes, you know that you will be owing at the end of the filing period or the end of the fiscal year. Keep those in those savings accounts. Don't touch them. Know that they're not your money, that they're for the government, but at least you can maybe collect some interest on that, and then that's interest that you get to keep. So that's another option for those that want to make sure that they're setting that money aside. So anyways, hopefully this video was helpful. If so, please click like and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel here, where I currently have over 265 videos that cover business management and business startup topics.